presentation. Good afternoon, all of you. And thank you, Steve, who has attended this conference. And my special thanks go to the founders and the co-founders of this forum. I'm going to be speaking to you today about SDG 2, the issues and challenges of hunger in Somalia. My name is Asma Bileh. I'm a veterinary doctor, and I worked as a humanitarian for a long time. I've worked with different NGOs, including FAO, GIZ, Mercy Crop, and others. Can you please scroll to the other next slide? Jayanta. The second one, please. So, Somalia is a country of the topographic extremes. The climate is mainly dry, hot, with a landscape of a Tunis, the savanna and semi-desert. The country receives a rainfall of between 400 to 600 millimeters per annum.
Dr. Joyantu, can you make the screen shorter? Or is it overlapping? The slide shows is shorter a little bit.
After nearly 3 decades of political and economic instability in Somalia, it's now recovering from all of those since the establishment of the Federal Republic of Somalia. However, the country continued to struggle with a recurrent food and nutrition crisis, widespread insecurity, political instability, underdeveloped infrastructure, natural hazards like drought, floods, cyclones, and locust invasion. Next slide, please. So one of the challenges that Somalia faces for the past 10 years was a famine and a drought and recurrent droughts. In 2016, the drought had left 40% of Somali population food insecure and a brink of famine. By the year of 2017, the president of Somalia announced that the country is in the brink of a famine. And the hunger is striking 6.3 million people across the country. This has resulted in nearly total crop failure, reduced rural employment opportunity, widespread shortage of water and pasture, which has resulted livestock death. As local stable food prices continue to rise sharply, livestock price was significantly decreasing. Next slide, please.
Are you there? Hello?
Oh, sorry, it was on mute. In year 2018, and a study conducted by UNHCR, they stated that more than 2.7 million people couldn't meet their daily food requirements, and they needed an urgent humanitarian assistance. An estimated of 300,000 children who are under the age of 5, they become malnourished, and they were in high risk of diseases and death. Continue, please.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So these photos are a collection of obituaries. The way they are stating when people are hit by the drought, displaced from their home country, they left in, they have been displaced because of the drought. The children were malnourished, and they needed an emergency humanitarian aid. Second slide, please. In 2017, WHO stated that Somalia, almost 6.2 million Somalis are in the face of famine, and drought has highly affected most of pastoral communities, as stated in the map. So where you see the rain, it's stating, I mean, in year 2016, it's stating the average rainfall and how dry the whole population of the country at the whole. Next slide, please. Next slide. The map of Somalia is showing like where there was in a camp, I mean IDP's population. The blue circles are showing where people have been displaced to. So 2.6 million people have been displaced from their homes because of a famine and a drought. So the IDPs face multiple risks and threats to people, whoever went to the IDPs, because it was overcrowded, it was unhygienic, and with a limited access of basic services and violence, I mean gender-based violence. So this map was showing that the number of IDPs in the whole country, the whole Somalia. So it that over 2.6 million people have been displaced from areas. So about drought, when the country tried to recover from the drought and received enough, the rain caused a huge 19 huge flood displaced again another more than 500,000 people. It has affected also the production of the country. The flood is damaged 15,000 to 20,000 hectares of sorghum, the maize and sesame in Hiran and Lower Shabelle and Beretwini. After the floods resulted and created a condition where large leukocyte swarms can grow. So after the floods, the leukocyte and the leukocyte invasion is they again hit it and damage the crops and farms. Next slide, please. The left map is still the leukocyte is still in the continent. I mean, it's still in the country, and still it's affecting the crop production. I mean, and the farming system of the country. The graph here is showing the cereal production in 1995 up to 19. So as you see the graph was in its big start from 1995 up to 2010. But when the drought started, or after the drought, this is like this. Next slide. Security outcome according to Food Security Analysis Unit in Somalia. They created this map to show the current food security outcome in Somalia. So in certain regions, especially the northern side of Somalia, it is showing that there is still food insecurity. Next slide. So apart from the drought, the flood, the locust inflation, in this year 2020 and later and last year 2019, towards the end of last year, there was a huge pandemic. I mean, there's a COVID-19 which hit it in all over the world, but it is specifically hit it hard in Somalia. So in Somalia, Somalia economy basically depends on exporting of livestock. There was no exportation of livestock this year. At the same time, Somalia also export this sesame into other countries. We also import in our basic staple foods from abroad. So all of those combinations, they affected the social economic of the country. According to the latest World Bank economic forecast, they say that Somalia may rebound in 2021 due to dollarized economy, low fuel price recovery in remittance and fiscal reform. However, poor households with a limited coping mechanism and high vulnerability will likely continue to struggle to meet their minimum food and non-food needs. Last slide, please. Next slide, I mean. So the possible recommendation would be to establish a sustainable food production system, implement resilient agriculture practice that can increase the productivity and production of the country. So a lot of international organizations and the government, they are trying to their best level to try and establish a sustainable food production in the whole country. But nature is always there, and no one can fight against the nature. But the effort is still there to strengthen the capacity for adaptation and climate change, extreme weather, drought, flooding, and other disasters. Increase investment, including to enhance rural development, agricultural extension, and technology development. Aid alone cannot work in Somalia's hunger reduction. Hence, local community must also contribute to fight hunger and poverty. So 2017 and 2016 and 15, the local community, especially urban households, they contributed enough money to help and the nomads. So I hope the effort. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for everyone who attended the training. So this slide is also showing the same recommendations. So by increasing food production system to this and strengthening the capacity to end malnutrition and also to restore the environment, especially the soil and the land.
So thank you, Dr. Asma.